The movie opens on a quiet, emotional note. Far from explosions or battles, Loak finds himself soaring through the skies of the spirit realm, laughing and racing banshees alongside his late brother, Neteyam. For a moment, everything feels the way it used to. Light, free, untouched by war. But peace never lasts long. As Loak prepares to leave, Neteyam calls out to him with a question that cuts deep. How did I die? Loak hesitates, then admits the truth. He says he was shot. They could have escaped, but he turned back to save Spider. That choice cost everything. Guilt crashes down on him as he admits he feels responsible, believing his recklessness sealed his brother's fate. Neteyam, calm and steady even in death, refuses to let that burden crush him. He reminds Loak that protecting family was never a mistake. It was love, and love doesn't deserve punishment. Loak wakes from the vision, but the weight stays. No matter how many times he hears those words, the blame clings to him like a shadow he can't outrun. Nearby, Spider watches Kiri and quietly admits something he's been holding inside. He wishes he could visit the spirit world too, just to feel that connection. Kiri, surprisingly, says she wishes she couldn't. The bond isn't just beautiful, it hurts. Sensing the heaviness between them, Spider shifts the mood and the two start playing, laughing, like kids trying to steal a normal moment in a broken world. Elsewhere, grief echoes through the forest. Neytiri sings a haunting song for Neteyam, her voice trembling with loss. It's not just a farewell, it's a mother's heart breaking out loud. While she mourns, Jake is already preparing for the next war. He dives into the wreckage of destroyed human ships, collecting guns and ammo like a man who knows peace is temporary. Loak and Saraya help him underwater, combing through the debris. That's when Loak spots something that stops him cold. His mother's shattered bow, drifting like a memory that refuses to sink. Jake's reaction is immediate and sharp. He orders Loak to forget it, focus on the mission, and never let Neytiri see that bow. Not now, not ever. This isn't about feelings, it's about survival. The weapons are taken back to the Metkayina village, but the reaction isn't what Jake hoped for. Chief Tonawari makes it clear, this path isn't theirs. Ronal is even more direct. She accuses Jake of poisoning his own spirit with human weapons, especially while the family's mourning isn't even finished. She reminds him that grief demands presence, not preparation for more bloodshed. Jake pushes back. Spears won't stop gunships. Tradition won't protect their children from bullets. He's done pretending otherwise. Meanwhile, the humans aren't finished either. Under Colonel Miles Quaritch's command, recovery teams search the ocean floor for bodies. Miles is convinced Jake Sully survived and is obsessed with proving it. He wants ships, troops, anything to hunt him down, but General Armour shuts him down cold. After his last failure, he's on a short leash and resources aren't coming easily. Back with the Sullys, Jake offers Neytiri a new weapon, one made of metal, not memory. He knows what her bow meant to her, but this war has changed the rules. These guns could give them a fighting chance. Neytiri doesn't even want to touch it. To her, it's not a tool. It's the same kind of weapon that stole her son. And no matter how practical it may be, some things are too painful to hold. While the weight of the past hangs heavy over Jake and Neytiri, the younger generation seeks a different kind of healing out on the open water. Life at the reef tries to move forward, even with scars still fresh. Loak, his siblings, and their friends glide across the waves on the massive back of Payakan. The Tulkun, everyone, labels a disgrace. To Loak, that label feels wrong. Payakan helped save lives, yet the clan still treats him like a stain they'd rather not acknowledge. Loak leans close and makes it personal, promising that no matter what the others say, Payakan will always be family to him, not an outcast, a brother. Before dawn can even stretch its fingers across the water, panic hits the Sully home. Spider's breathing mask begins to fail, the soft hiss of oxygen turning into silence. The family snaps awake, tearing through the room in a frantic search for the spare. When they finally secure it and Spider gasps back to life, relief crashes over everyone at once. His siblings cling to him, half scolding, half terrified, begging him to be more careful when broken hose is all it takes to lose him. Then the mood flips. In an instant, a deep horn echoes across the reef and celebration erupts. The wind traders have arrived. These sky-sailing Na'vi, led by the sharp-eyed Chief Plock, are welcomed with excitement and ceremony. Their towering vessels drift in like living storms, bringing trade, stories, and a rare sense of wonder. But Jake isn't smiling. He gathers the family and drops a decision that hits like a gut punch. He and Neytiri have agreed to let Spider leave with the wind traders. A life chained to a breathing mask isn't a life at all. With them, Spider could survive freely, without plastic and filters keeping him alive. Spider is crushed. Jake is the only father he's ever known. The Sullys, the only family he's ever had. The kids push back immediately. They already see Spider as one of them. The idea of letting him go feels wrong, like tearing out a piece of themselves. Neytiri doesn't hold back, cold and firm. She reminds everyone that Spider will never truly be Na'vi, never truly hers. Her words cut deep, and the room falls quiet. Later, Jake speaks to Spider alone. This time, there's a shift. He tells him the truth. They're not abandoning him. Jake and his family will travel with the wind traders too. The kids instantly light up, relieved that this isn't a goodbye after all. Chief Plock, however, is far from thrilled. The deal was simple. Spider only. No warriors, no baggage. Wind traders avoid conflict, and Jake Sully is walking conflict. But Jake counters with something Plock can't ignore. Protection. Human forces are spreading, and having Sully warriors guarding the ship could mean survival. Reluctantly, Plock agrees. As the wind trader ship lifts into the sky, Loak pulls his father aside. He asks, almost pleads, to fight beside Jake in the next battle, to fly with him when things go bad. Jake shuts it down immediately. Loak isn't ready, not when he can't even follow the most basic rule. Jake's eyes drop. Loak's tracking communicator is gone, far away. That mistake is already costing them. A recom lieutenant confirms the signal, projecting the image for Colonel Quaritch. Jake Sully, alive, mobile, and traveling with the wind traders. Quaritch doesn't hesitate. Orders are given. Forces are mobilized. The hunt is back on. But they aren't the only ones watching from the shadows. The journey with the wind traders doesn't stay peaceful for long. High above the land, their massive skyship is suddenly ripped apart by flaming arrows slicing through the air. Out of the smoke comes the Ash Clan, fast, ruthless, and terrifyingly precise. Leading them is Varang, a warrior whose reputation alone makes seasoned fighters tense up. She doesn't shout warnings. She doesn't demand surrender. She burns first. Fire spreads across the sails as chaos explodes. Jake and his kids leap into action, fighting desperately to keep the ship from becoming a falling coffin. But in the middle of the clash, tragedy strikes hard. Varang appears out of nowhere and fires a single arrow. That hits Neytiri. Time seems to freeze. Ignoring everything else, Neytiri launches herself straight at Varang, Banshee screaming through the smoke. What follows is a brutal aerial duel. Blades flash, wings collide, and then disaster. Neytiri is knocked from her Banshee, her body tumbling silently into the forest below. Jake can only watch in horror as she disappears beneath the canopy. The fight spirals even further out of control. Loak and the others try to flee, but their Banshee is struck mid-air. They crash into the forest, scattered, shaken, and hunted. Loak and Spider creep through the trees, hearts pounding until they witness something that turns Loak's stomach. The Ash Clan isn't just winning, they're enjoying it, laughing, slaughtering, celebrating death like a festival. Rage builds as Loak raises a human weapon, locking the sight on Varang. His finger tightens, then stops. He can't do it. Not like this. They're spotted instantly. The forest erupts into a deadly chase. Loak fires back while running, dropping 2 Ash warriors before escaping with his siblings. The gunshots leave the Ash Clan stunned. They've never seen a weapon like this, never heard death arrive so loudly and so fast. Varang's curiosity turns dangerous. She wants that power. She spots the kids again and sends her warriors after them, determined to take whatever weapon Loak is carrying. Elsewhere, Jake is tearing through the forest, calling out for his family. His heart nearly stops when he finds Neytiri lying motionless on the ground. She's alive, but barely. Relief and fear crash together as he gathers himself and keeps moving. Before he can regroup, Jake is ambushed. Colonel Quaritch steps out of the shadows, very much alive. Jake stares in disbelief. He knows he killed him. Quaritch doesn't explain. There's no time. Jake tells him the truth. The Ash clan attacked and his children and Spider are being hunted. That last part lands hard. Spider is Quaritch's son. For once, hatred takes a back seat. Quaritch lowers his weapon. Killing Jake can wait. Finding his son cannot. He demands Jake's help to track the Ash clan, and Jake, with no better option, agrees. Back with the kids, the escape is falling apart. Spider is slowing down, his oxygen nearly gone. Without hesitation, Loak lifts him onto his back and keeps running, refusing to leave him behind. Spider's breathing turns shallow, panic spreads. Then Kiri steps forward. She tells Loak to lay Spider down. Kneeling beside him, she places her hands on his chest and begins to pray, not loudly, not dramatically, but with pure focus. The forest grows still, and then something impossible happens. Spider starts breathing. No mask, no oxygen tank, just air. For a brief, stunned moment, hope explodes among them. They laugh, cry, and cling to each other. And then arrows rain down. The Ash clan surrounds them. Overpowered and exhausted, the kids are captured. From a concealed vantage point, Jake and Quaritch finally spot them. Varang steps forward, amused, and demands that Loak show her how to use the strange weapon that killed her warriors. Loak lies, saying it's empty. Varang doesn't care. She orders her fighters to kill the youngest child first. That's when Jake snaps. He storms out of hiding, bow drawn, unleashing chaos. At the same time, Quaritch presses a gun to Varang's head, commanding the Ash clan to stand down. For a heartbeat, it works. Jake gathers his children and slowly backs away. Then Varang strikes. With a brutal flick of her tail, she attacks Quaritch's nervous system, sending him crashing to the ground in violent convulsions. The standoff collapses instantly. The Ash clan swarms them again, capturing everyone. Now, Varang turns her attention to Quaritch. She wants the gun, not just to hold it, to understand it. With his son watching, Quaritch has no choice. He shows her how it works. The first test shot echoes through the forest. Varang smiles, not out of joy, but out of fascination. She's just discovered a new way to destroy the world. As the echo of the test shot fades into the dark canopy, the forest itself seems to hold its breath, while Varang stands mesmerized by the cold power in her hands. The focus shifts away from the rising threat in the woods to a desperate fight for survival elsewhere. The scene of triumph for the Ash clan fades, replaced by the heavy silence of a medical tent where a life hangs in the balance. Far from the chaos in the forest, Neytiri's body is finally carried home, bloodied but breathing. She's rushed into medical care as her people scramble to save her life. Even as healers work, the pain hasn't left her eyes. It's only been pushed aside. Meanwhile, the Ash clan celebrates. They dance beneath the burning sky, chanting and performing victory rituals, convinced the day belongs to them. They have no idea their prisoners are already slipping through their fingers. Under cover of distraction and darkness, Jake and his family manage to break free once again, moving like ghosts through the wild. Neytiri wakes with a sharp gasp. The wounds don't matter to her. The pain doesn't matter. The first thing she asks, her only concern, is where her children are. Relief comes only after she's reunited with them and Jake, holding them like she might never let go again. Once they're clear, Jake and Quaritch stop running. There's unfinished business between them, and both know it. They sit together in tense silence before Quaritch finally speaks. He makes one thing clear: this temporary alliance means nothing. When all of this is over, the hunt resumes. He still intends to kill Jake. Jake doesn't argue. Some wars never end. The Ash clan soon takes to the skies, searching for their escaped captives. Panic rises when figures approach from above. But it's not the enemies, it's their own people, arriving just in time to pull them to safety. In the confusion, Quaritch disappears into the wild, vanishing before anyone can stop him. Back among allies, scientists examine Spider, stunned by what they're seeing. Somehow, His body is changing. He's no longer fully human. His system is adapting, allowing him to breathe Pandora's air naturally. Jake's reaction is immediate and fearful. He orders them to stop studying it. If the humans discover how Spider survived without oxygen, they'll turn it into a weapon and Pandora will never be safe again. Neytiri's grief twists into something darker. She coldly suggests the unthinkable, ending Spider's life to protect their world. Jake shuts it down instantly. To him, Spider isn't a risk or a tool. He's family, a son. Instead, Jake decides they'll return to the Reef Village, where they can hide Spider and keep him away from human hands. While the Sullys regroup, humanity commits another atrocity. Under General Ardmore's command, human forces begin slaughtering Tulkun en masse. Their bodies are harvested, their intelligent brains drained of a glowing substance worth fortunes back on Earth. Life reduced to profit. Chief Tonawari delivers the news to Jake, his voice heavy with anger. War preparations begin immediately, but grief demands a scapegoat. Tonawari places the blame on Payakan, declaring that his presence brought destruction and banishing him forever. Loak can't stay silent. He argues fiercely, reminding them that Payakan fought to protect them, that he saved lives. But Jake steps in, and his words cut deeper than any blade. He tells Loak that disobedience has consequences, that failure to follow orders is what gets people killed. And then he says the words Loak feared most, that it's why his brother died. The pain hits Loak like a physical blow. The guilt he's been carrying suddenly feels confirmed, spoken aloud by the person he needed forgiveness from the most. Later, alone and broken, Loak walks into the wilderness with a gun in his hand. His thoughts spiral. The weight of loss, blame, and shame becomes unbearable. He raises the weapon, ready to end it all, but he's not alone. Kiri and Sireya find him just in time. They don't lecture or yell. They remind him that he matters, that they need him, that the strength of their ancestors flows through him, not as punishment, but as purpose. Loak breaks down, finally letting the pain spill out instead of swallowing him whole. And for the first time in a long while, he doesn't face the darkness by himself.
Stay in this life, brother. We need you. We love you.
The heavy silence after Loak's breakdown marks the start of healing for the Sully family. Slow, fragile, real. As the others begin to find peace, something else begins to change. Quietly, almost unnoticed, the grief of the past fades, but the reality of the future starts to shift. And it starts with Spider. His transformation doesn't end with breathing Pandora's air. His body keeps changing, slowly, unmistakably. Spider begins to grow a Navi tail, something that would have sounded impossible not long ago. With it comes freedom. For the first time in his life, Spider bonds with a creature. He rides beside the others, finally sharing the sky, instead of watching it from below. It's exhilarating and terrifying because now he's something the humans will never stop chasing, and Quaritch proves that fear is justified. After tearing through village after village with nothing to show for it, he changes tactics. If Spider won't come to him, he'll bring the war to Jake. Quaritch marches straight into Ash Clan territory, a bag of human weapons slung over his shoulder. Fully aware of how dangerous that offer is, he's captured immediately, dragged before Varang. But Quaritch doesn't beg, he negotiates. He offers her guns, real guns, bombs, firepower beyond anything her clan has ever known. All he wants in return is help hunting Jake Sully and his family. Varang studies him. Not threatened, intrigued, his boldness entertains her, his violence excites her. She begins to see him as more than an ally, someone who could satisfy more than just her thirst for war. Then she reveals the truth. Long ago, Jake's ancestors burned her village to the ground. Her people were wiped out. The rage never disappeared. It only waited. Revenge is something they both crave. With their goals aligned, Varang accepts the deal. Human weapons are handed to the Ash Clan like gifts from the gods, and overnight, the balance of power shifts. Back at the Reef Village, a rare moment of peace slips in. Kiri and Spider finally let their feelings surface. Away from everyone else, they share a quiet kiss. It's tender, honest, and brief, because the Ash Clan attacks without warning. Chaos tears through the village. In the confusion, Spider is grabbed. Varang strikes him with her tail, knocking him unconscious before anyone can stop her. By the time Jake realizes what's happening, It's already too late. He looks up and sees something worse. Human ships approaching the reef. Jake doesn't hesitate. He races to warn the village as Quaritch and Varang arrive at the front of a combined army. Quaritch makes his demand simple: hand over Jake Sully or watch everything burn. The Neteyam refuse, so Quaritch gives the order. Fire rains down from the sky. Homes burn. Sacred ground is reduced to ash. Then Jake steps forward alone. He tells Quaritch to stop. He offers himself willingly, on one condition: leave his people untouched. Quaritch accepts. Jake is dragged away in chains. His family and clan can only watch, grief etched into every face. Jake and Spider are taken to the human base. The moment General Ardmore sees the Ash Warriors, she explodes. She despises the idea of these unpredictable allies inside her operation. She orders Quaritch to remove them immediately. Quaritch pushes back, warns her not to underestimate them, or him. Despite the tension, the base erupts in celebration. Jake Sully, the symbol of Na'vi resistance, is finally captured. Spider doesn't celebrate. He's dragged into a lab, strapped down, surrounded. The scientists aren't gentle. They're desperate. They run test after test, obsessed with one question: how did a human child learn to breathe Pandora's air? And Spider finally understands the truth. To them, he isn't a person anymore. He's a discovery, a weapon, a breakthrough. Somewhere else in the base, alarms are tested, weapons are fueled, plans quietly accelerate. And in the narrow space between fear and resolve, Spider's eyes harden. He refuses to wait for someone else to save him. Using a small piece of metal he secretly kept hidden, Spider pries his way out of the cell. He slips into the shadows of the base, moving carefully through enemy territory, guided by nothing but instinct and desperation. At the same time, Neteyam becomes something far more terrifying than an army. She ambushes two Ash Clan warriors. Silently, efficiently, she takes their armor, their markings, and disguises herself as one of them. Blending in with ease, she walks straight into the human base, her grief and rage buried beneath deadly focus. Inside, Quaritch and Varang are still catching their breath after an intimate moment. When Quaritch steps out, Neteyam strikes. She slips into the room like a ghost and presses a blade against Varang's throat, demanding to know where Jake is being held. Before Varang can answer, Quaritch storms back in, weapon raised. Neteyam vanishes before either of them can react. Alarms erupt across the base. Ash warriors flood the corridors, firing wildly. Neteyam dodges every shot, weaving through the chaos with terrifying precision, leaving destruction in her wake. Elsewhere, one of Jake's human allies, an old scientist friend, arrives in a heavy construction crawler. He smashes through the barriers and frees Jake from his cell, urgency written all over his face. He tells Jake the truth. The humans are preparing a full-scale attack on the Na'vi villages. Total annihilation. And only Jake knows the terrain and the enemy well enough to stop it. Before they can escape, the military locks on. A missile launches straight toward Jake. At the last second, Spider throws himself in front of him, shielding Jake with his own body. Quaritch shouts for everyone to stand down, panic cutting through his authority. He won't let his son die. General Ardmore ignores him and orders the strike anyway. That's when Neteyam reappears. She tears through the airship with brutal force, crippling it before it can fire again. Jake, Neteyam, and Spider leap onto their banshees and escape the base in a storm of smoke and fire. When they reach the forest, the celebration never comes. Jake pulls Neteyam aside and finally admits what he's been thinking. She was right before. Spider is dangerous, not by choice, but by what he represents. If humans capture him again and unlock the secret of his transformation, they won't just invade Pandora, they'll survive it permanently. They'll erase the Na'vi completely. Neteyam can't accept it anymore. Spider saved Jake's life. That matters. Jake insists there's no other way. Later, Jake leads Spider deeper into the forest. No guards, no weapons drawn yet, just silence. Spider looks up at him and asks one simple question. Does Jake love him? Jake answers without hesitation, with his whole heart. Spider doesn't ask anything else. He understands what's about to happen and accepts it. No fear, no struggle. Jake raises his weapon and stops. His hands shake, his face breaks. This isn't justice. This isn't protection. It's another kind of destruction. And Jake has seen enough of that. He lowers the weapon. Some lines, once crossed, can never be uncrossed. And Jake Sully refuses to become that kind of monster. In that moment of mercy, the weight of hatred finally lifts from Jake's shoulders. He understands something crucial. To save his family, he doesn't need to become a killer like Quaritch. He needs to become a leader again. He needs to become a symbol. Leaving the shadows of the forest behind, Jake knows there's only one way to unite the fractured clans before the coming slaughter. Pandora needs its great protector once more. With the storm of war closing in, Jake returns to the one bond that never failed him. Toruk, his great mountain banshee. Reunited with the legendary beast, Jake rises again, not just as a father, but as a symbol of unity for every Na'vi who still believes Pandora is worth fighting for. He travels with the Reef clans to seek out the Tulkun. He asks them to stand against the humans. This time, the answer isn't silence. The ocean listens. As the warriors prepare for battle, Jake makes a painful choice. He orders Loak to stay behind and defend the village. Loak protests, but this time, Jake doesn't bend. Neytiri pulls her son close. She gives him one final command of her own. If they don't come back, he must take Spider and the girls and disappear. Survive. That's all that matters. Then the horizon darkens. Hundreds of human airships swarm toward the coast, engines roaring like an oncoming apocalypse. High above, Na'vi warriors cling to the mountain peaks, waiting for Jake's signal. The tension stretches until the ocean erupts, the Tulkun charge. Human crews panic as the massive beings slam into their ships, steel tears like paper. These gentle giants, once hunted and slaughtered, rise in fury. The humans never expected this, and it shows. Jake gives the command. The sky explodes into motion. Na'vi riders dive from the cliffs, arrows raining down. Banshees tear through the airships. For a moment, it looks like victory. The humans fall back. Ships burn. Hope spreads. Then Quaritch arrives, and the Ash clan arrives with him. The tide turns violently, armed with human weapons and Ash fury. Quaritch's forces rip through the Na'vi ranks. Warriors fall. The sky fills with smoke and screams. Desperate, Kiri reaches out to Awa. She begs for help. At first, nothing. No answer. No sign. Then Spider joins her, then the others. Together, they reach out again. This time, Pandora responds. The sea comes alive. Creatures of every size and shape surge forward. Human vessels are crushed, dragged beneath the waves. Above them, Jake's Banshee, an alpha among alphas, calls out. The skies answer. And suddenly, the Ash clan is overwhelmed. In the chaos, Quaritch captures Jake's family once more. Jake tears through the battlefield, refusing to lose them again. As Varang moves in to strike Neytiri, Kiri reacts instantly. She uses her tail to overpower Varang. Fear flashes across the Ash leader's face. She retreats, finally beaten. Jake and Quaritch face each other one last time. Their fight is brutal, raw, personal. During the struggle, Spider tries to stop his father and nearly falls from the cliff. At the last second, Quaritch grabs him, saving his life. Jake reaches down and pulls them both back up. Breathing hard, Jake gives Quaritch a choice. Stand with them or stand alone. Quaritch looks around. Na'vi warriors surround him. Defeat is inevitable, but surrender isn't in his nature. Without a word, he steps backward and leaps off the cliff, choosing death over compromise. In the aftermath, silence settles over Pandora. The war is over. At the end, Spider is welcomed into the spirit world. He stands among the Na'vi as Awa acknowledges him. The clan tells him what he's longed to hear his entire life. He belongs. And with that, the story comes to a close. But before we go, I've got to ask you, do you think Jake made the right choice by sparing Spider? Was it mercy or a mistake that will haunt them later? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this recap and want more epic movie breakdowns like this, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story we dive into. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.